Welcome to From the AD's View with Cedric Brown. I am Dr. AJ Anderson filling in for Cedric Brown today. It's going to be a great show. Let's go. Welcome to From the AD's View with Cedric Brown. Again, I am Dr. AJ Anderson. I am filling in for Dr. Cedric Brown today. We have a great show lined up for you and an amazing guest. Without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Sean Wiggins. Good evening, Sean.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How are you doing? How's
I'm doing well. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me on the show. It's a surprising pleasure to be here.
That is awesome. So, Sean, can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, who you are? Who is Mr. Sean Wiggins?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in New Jersey, and in the Roseland area, and I've basically been in the hotel business all of my adult life. So, career started back in 1986, and flash forward to now, I'm still in the business that I'm passionate about it because I love people, and the hotel business is about people. It's not rocket science; it's people science. So that's why I'm here.
So, how'd you get started in the hotel business?
Actually, I was in school in Tallahassee. My first college that I went to was Florida State University. I'm a Seminole, and while I was there during the summer breaks, I spent my summers since childhood on Amelia Island, and so I basically started my hotel career as a part-time job, and as a my original job was a bellman, and I just enjoyed it so much. It wasn't like work. It was like I was getting paid to have fun. So I would interact with people, um, and working as a bellman, as you know, is physical, and I like physical activity, and I enjoyed myself. So that's how I kind of got started.
That's awesome. Now, was there anyone influential that you saw in the business, or someone a mentor to you in the hotel management area?
Oh boy, that's a journey. I mean, during your hotel career, you're going to meet and run into so many different iconic people that are just that that are blessing into your life, and there were quite a few. And one of them, when I worked for Ritz Carlton Hotels, was Hort Schultze. Um, I got to interact with him because when you work for the Ritz, it's like being in the military. You have to line up, do uniform inspections, recite the credo, things like that. And that was the pretty much my beginning, where I really kind of got serious about career, and it was a world class education. I mean, they even gave you the verbiage and the script, and told you how to speak on a level that provided world class service. So Hort Schultze was one of them, because he would actually do come to Amelia Island from Atlanta and do hands-on training with the staff. So while I was at Ritz Carlton, I mean, hours and hours of training and learning how to be my personal best was influential. And then flash forward, there were quite a few. I mean, there's just too many to name in my current area. So tons of people that were just major influence in my life.
That is awesome though. That's great. I think that is one area, the from a hotel management standpoint, that's something that I think a lot of undergraduate students could be something that they could get into and realize the different opportunities that they have in this field. Do
Yeah,
you see opportunities for young college graduates?
absolutely. And the thing is, being on the ground before you go into management, learning the service side and interacting with guests. Kind of like, I didn't plan it, just happened that way. But I think, looking back, I think it was critical to my success and being able to perform at different levels, having that on the ground experience, interacting with guests, learning the hotel inside out. I worked in multiple departments before I went on the corporate side. So I think that's critical, to the education process to, have feet on the ground in the actual hotel before you, launch a career path on the corporate side.
And you just mentioned just being able to interact with customers. I say customer service is extremely important, and that is one area that in undergraduate you don't really learn as much. You have to actually get out there and do that. How important is that, being able to get that hands-on experience?
Yeah. So there's a book that I kind of reference all the time. It's called Made to Stick. And what they talk about in that book is um, the commander's intent. And what that means is when people are training for war and then they hit the battlefield, their whole world turns upside down and they forget their training. But if they go by the commander's intent, which is get the flag, then all of the training that they have will suddenly rush to the top of the agenda when they know that it's a very simple thing that we need to do is get the flag no matter what we see on the battlefield. So, understanding the commander's intent is important, especially when the boots hit the ground in the hotel arena.
Oh man, that is great. So hopefully the folks listening are, really listening. And repeat the name of the book. Repeat the name of that book that you said that you
Yeah, it's called Made to Stick, and it's a
made.
book that I reference because it's a marketing book. But I like to reference that book because it has so many concepts of how to sell yourself, not only in an advertising lane, but just your personal brand. It's a really good read to understand the depths of preparing yourself to meet the street when you're coming out of education, you know, um, platform. So made to stick.
Awesome, awesome. So we're gonna shift gears a little bit here, and I really wanted to talk to you about a true personal journey that you have gone through, that you are still continuing to go through, a weight loss journey. Can you talk to us a little bit how it started, and just go through your journey through this?
Well, so back in 2017, I was working in Niagara Falls, New York, and I'm an adventurer. So when I started my hotel career, I promised myself that when I travel, I'm going to go see things, and it could be like an exercise adventure, walking, whatever. And I made sure that every state that I visited, every country that I visited, that I went out to do something to educate myself on the landscape. So one of those things I did back in 2017, it was actually January 10th, 2017 in Niagara Falls, New York. I wanted to see the falls at night. And in January, it's cold in Niagara Falls. And there was some black ice um, on a slope. So I didn't take the stairs. I decided to go on the side and to get to the falls. And I actually fell at Niagara Falls. And
Oh,
I,
man.
I I sprained my leg, and it went kind of all the way up into my abdomen, and then it affected my back to the point where over time I really couldn't walk. I didn't think I was going to walk normal again. So that particular accident led me kind of to, sit in a chair for about 3 years, because every doctor that I went to, um, they did x-rays, and the only thing that they would prescribe was pain management.
Hmm.
And so flash forward, about 3 years, I was sitting in a chair, couldn't walk more than 10 feet. And then I gained a ton of weight. Um, while it was, I wasn't moving, I wasn't doing anything. So I was working, but I was struggling through work because I had to travel and I had to do, hotel visits, things like that. But the thing is, I was doing it with a ton of pain, and it was almost at the point that it was unbearable. And yeah, so that's kind of like, where my real trouble started.
I was going to ask you. You said you were in a chair and you couldn't walk much. How how was that? How frustrating was that for you initially?
Yeah, so when I say I was in a chair, instead of sleeping in a bed, because what would happen if I laid horizontal, I would get all these massive cramps, and I couldn't stay in that position. So the only thing that would give me relief was to sit down, kind of like in a chair. So I actually slept in a chair at home for about 3 years. And so when I traveled on the road, I would actually sleep in the chairs, in the hotels, things like that, just to kind of keep myself comfortable. And the sad part about it was, the pain management side. It got so bad to the point where I wanted to get shots in my back. But when you gain large amounts of weight, now I'll tell you about, the weight levels in just a moment. But when you gain that much weight, what happens is other things. You can become pre-diabetic. All kinds of things are coming at you, and you're just deteriorating. So when I went to get the actual pain relief shots to give myself some, a break, my blood pressure was too high. So I never had the opportunity to actually get the actual shots to give me the relief in my back. And that was kind of like my rock bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, we are going to take a short break here. You
Okay.
are watching From the AD's View with Cedric Brown. We'll be right back after the short break.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
From the AD's View with Cedric Brown. You can watch this show every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time or 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. if you missed past episodes, you can find those at www.cedricmbrown.org. Again, my name is Dr. AJ Anderson. I am filling in for our host, Dr. Cedric Brown, and we want to get back to our conversation with Mr. Sean Wiggins. So, I know you started to talk a little bit about potentials once you're gaining weight, then you're potentially pre-diabetic. So let's continue what you were discussing.
Yeah. So the thing about my rock bottom, it was a terrible time for me because I really didn't know what to do. Because of course, when you're going to buy suits, every time you go back, you're getting a larger size, and it was pretty eye opening. It was pretty tough to deal with. And um, how did I get on this path? How did I get better? What changed? I just prayed about it. I asked God to, heal my body, and I kind of really didn't think about it much after that. I just kind of let God handle it, and then suddenly I got this phone call from a man named Alan Thomas, and it just so happens that he's a kind of like a wellness coach. Um, and I call him the wellness whisperer because it's just amazing what he's done for me to help me, and uh, and he basically said that he could help me. And the first time he reached out to me, um, I actually kind of hung up on him because I didn't believe that I've been through all these doctors. I mean, went to the Mayo Clinic trying to find a solution, but I didn't really. I was so focused on trying to make my back pain go away. I didn't focus on the weight side of things. And he kind of addressed the weight side of things and just basically told me that I can help you. And so, flash forward, he gave me another call, and he said, "Sean, listen to me." And he said, if you're committed, I can help you. And he said, "I need you to do a couple things. I need you to get a scale and weigh yourself every day, and we're going to do it in front of a bunch of people." And he said, "If you can commit to that, I can help you." And so that's what I did. And we created a page called Sean Wiggins Extreme Accountability page on Facebook, which is like a private group. And then I think we're up to 367 members that watch me weigh myself. And they've been with me since I started my journey, which was October 16th, 2020. And I kind of call that my second birthday because that was my second chance at life. And I felt like I was born again after that, after meeting with him and getting on this path of healing. And the funny thing I'll tell you about weight loss is that I went on October 16th, 2020, I weighed in at 432 pounds, right? So that's kind of like my starting weight. But then as I was going back to the doctors and getting checkups and things like that, I found out I was much heavier than that. So my weight loss journey, even though it's 432, it was actually a much bigger journey than I actually thought. I didn't know that I had gained so much weight. I didn't know that I was close to 500 pounds. The only thing that was telling is that I was at a 4X and then I was going into a 5X until I met Alan. So.
And you had mentioned that you prayed about it, and that was God that called you. You said Alan Thomas, but that was God.
Absolutely. He sent me an angel.
Yes. That when you said you started praying, you knew that was deep in your heart, and this was something that you needed help with. And I find myself in different times like that as well. And the prayer helps.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to give all things to him. And then, just in life in general, you're going to have your critics. But, you just basically have to outlive your critics. And in life, you're going to have adversity. You have to outlive your adversity and then this is the hard part for me, allow people to help you. And then you have to actually stop uh, lying to yourself and admit that you have a problem.
Mhm.
So you kind of hear that kind of like language with people who have addictions and things like that. Uh, Obesity is a disease, and you kind of have to treat it. So one of the things that I had to treat in my obesity situation was sugar. I was absolutely addicted to sugar. My Achilles heel was sweet tea, and I would drink it by the gallon. So when I was sitting in that chair, not moving, over that 3 year period, I must have drank gallons, hundreds of gallons of sweet tea, and but that was the first thing that I actually gave up in my wellness journey.
I commend you on that, just because I know it's tough. And we talk about the flesh, and the flesh wanted that sweet tea, right? You wanted that. You wanted that sweet tea, but understanding there was something bigger, and you were
Mhm.
serious about this. And just I pray for you, and said you're doing a great job, and continue to work on this journey. So that is great.
Love.
So now, you had mentioned you have a Facebook page,
Oh yeah.
and there's
Mhm.
which 367. Is that what you mentioned?
As of today, it's about
Okay.
367. Yeah,
Well, let's
and
push that up over 400 after today.
okay. Yeah, I'll have to maybe send you guys the link. It's called Sean Wiggins, SEAN, Extreme Accountability, and that's kind of where that's my safe space. Well, it's not. Yeah, I could call it a safe space, but it's my place where I allow people to see my journey. And then what happens is behind the scenes, you end up, even though I'm trying to do things to help myself, you end up helping other people. And so behind the scenes, people are like, "Hey, what's the magic pill? What's the shortcut?" And I was like, "Okay, you want to know what the shortcut is? You have to do the work."
Mhm.
And I decided not to go a surgery route. I decided not to take any type of medical drugs or anything like that. And I also decided not to do any type of like unsustainable diets. You know, I decided to do what came natural to me, and that was basically healing my body through alternate day fasting. So that has been my go-to tool in actually getting the weight down. So I would just, Alan, when I spoke to him, I said, "So what do I do?" And he goes, "I don't know. You tell me." And I said, "Well, maybe I can eat less." He goes, "That's a great start." And that was actually the first part of that first conversation, and him helping me, get on this path of wellness. And the funny thing is, the cool thing about fasting, and I'm not a medical expert. I'm putting a little legal disclaimer out there. I'm just saying what worked for me is that my body actually healed during the process. So, what do I mean by healing? So, I went back to my primary care physician, um, even though I was seeing other doctors, trying to figure out my back situation. But I went back to, after a year, went back to my primary care physician, and he saw that I lost a tremendous amount of weight, and he was just blown away. And then they did some lab tests, and so my pre-diabetic situation was gone. I had two aneurysms in my eye where I could have gone blind. They couldn't find them. Um,
It's great.
uh, what else? Blood pressure went back kind of like in the normal range, even though it was floating a little on the high side. It wasn't like DEF CON level where, I could just pass out at any time. It kind of normalized. And so all of those things, my body was healing during the process. So my weight loss journey actually turned into a wellness journey. So I'm thankful for that with lots of water.
Listen, I know you said you're not a doctor, but you're definitely a hero. I'm
Oh,
sure there
wow.
for what you have gone through, and it takes a lot of discipline, yeah, to stay focused and stay on that. So I do believe that you are someone that a lot of people can look up to, and see your journey. And being able to have the page on Facebook, people can see what you went through and see that journey and see that dedication. So I definitely, once again, I commend you on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I talk about on my Facebook page. Different people will post, their most private things. Nobody ever think about this. Nobody wants to tell anybody their weight, male, female, nobody. And so, and then for me to share it was basically me being vulnerable, and that became my superpower. And so they saw me fail, they saw me win some days, and then through the process they see that one thing I talk about on that page is that success is not a straight line. Like even with career paths, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to go through these cycles, right? And I tell them, like, if you don't have these ups and downs and you have a straight line up, that means you don't have a pulse. So if you look at a pulse, it goes up and down. That means that you're living. And so my lines, even though they were trending down, there were ups and downs. There were times when I'll go back up, times I'll go back down, but it was consistently going down over time. But it looked like a little mountainscape, you know. And so I talk about the visual side of things when you're weighing yourself, because I tell them, they were like, well, why do you weigh yourself every day? You should weigh yourself only once a week, once a month. Well, try flying a plane with no instruments. You're not going to know your altitude. You're not going to know the direction that you're going. So the scale has been my instrument. It's the tool that lets me know, how high I'm flying or how low I'm flying. And it's one thing that helps me not to go back to that place that was my rock bottom. So,
All right, thank you. Is there any advice that you would offer up to anyone who is on a wellness journey like yourself?
one thing is, you have to remember the things that are important. Your reason why, and my reason why, my family, my daughter's wife. Uh, I just want to be there another day. I just want to live a little bit longer. So your reason why has to be stronger than your excuses. So I've learned to eliminate excuses. I hold myself accountable, and I just keep going that way. And because if your reason why is stronger than all the forces around you that tell you to give up or that you can't do it, um, you're going to be able to achieve things that you never thought were possible. So success, um, using what I call rhythmic consistency, it all these other things around you start happening and moving. All these mountains that you didn't think were possible to move start moving kind of like out of the way, and then it becomes scalable. It takes the mountain and it reduces it down to anthills. So yeah, so basically your reason why has to be a very strong purpose filled destination.
Well, Mr. Wiggins, I want to just thank you for being a guest on the show
Thank
and
you.
sharing your wellness story. So, and this has just been an amazing show. I want to thank you, and I wish you the best and most success on your continued journey.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you guys inviting me on the show. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, you can see the From the AD's View with Cedric Brown every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank Dr. Cedric Brown for allowing me to watch this or to be able to host this show this evening. And once I actually forgot here is to remember you can see past shows on the website, which is www.cedricmbrown.org. Again, just wanted to thank Dr. Cedric Brown for allowing me to host the show today, and want everyone to have a wonderful and good night.